All right, man. Perfect, man. Hey, another episode of Legacy and Leaders Media today with my partner, somebody who we all follow online, one of the most tangible, approachable, real, real cats out there, man. The Professor Mykal Fox. Myke, how you doing today, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, most definitely, man. Greatly appreciated, man. Like I said before, man. To for anybody who doesn't know who you are, deal in I deal in storytelling, man. I like telling stories of people who've taken that harder road, that road less traveled. So
Yeah.
smaller schools, athletes who involve niche sports, and man, even for a brother like you who really has taken the path, you've taken the path of resistance like a mug, man. Viewing the record and viewing the fact that you've taken on all challenges, man. So for the uninitiated, for the people who don't know, introduce yourself and talk a little about yourself, champ.
Oh yeah. My name is Mykal Fox. I'm from Forestville, Maryland. Um, 24-4 as a professional fighter, and shoot, I've been boxing since I was 4 years old. Just just taking it, just seeing how far I can take it, man. May 17th is the next step.
Nice, man. Nice. So, man, you like I said, man, road less traveled. I knew about you from earlier PBC fights and other events. Even before really jumping onto Twitter, just as somebody who being around my uncles and relatives who really watch boxing, being a young kid and seeing Pernell Whitaker beat Chavez because Pernell Whitaker beat Chavez for anybody who's watching this. But man, seeing the road that you've taken and all that you've done, starting at 4 years old, what made you pivot into deciding to actually become a pro and not just doing this as it's an activity? Like, did you recognize you were going to be a pro at 4 years old, or when did the light switch turn on for you to be like, I could do this for a living?
Um, it wasn't. No, it definitely wasn't at 4. I just was going, just going one fight at a time, just going to the gym, just basically just something to do other than sit in the house. Keep me and my brother out of trouble and everything. But honestly, it wasn't until after high school. I graduated 2013 from Largo, and I went to and I'm actually at the time I'm getting ready for the Golden Gloves that was coming in 2014, and I was sparring a pro fighter. They needed a tall guy because they had a tall opponent coming, and we're sparring. We did about in 2 weeks. We did about probably like 9 sessions. Uh,
Sheesh.
yeah. We like Monday, Wednesday, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, whatever. And then just for I mean, just because I was the only person that could fit the bill that was like around his size. Um, and then my dad was just like, I know we getting ready for the gloves. He said, man, but you kind of have a pro style already. You going 10? I'm going 10 rounds with the dude. So
Hmm.
he's like, he said, man, I don't got time to teach you how to be an amateur, and then turn around and try to teach you how to be a pro again. He said, man, look, we got this promoter. At the time, there was a local promoter. He's putting on shows. We can see if we can get you on there, see if he'll work with us. The promoter said he would, and then 2014, April 18th, that was my pro debut.
Nice, man. So you jump into the pro debut. You have a handful of fights. Even when you look at your record, like I said, you've really taken the path of resistance. Not to say other fighters because it's a business. It's the business of hurt. It's the
Yeah,
business of pain. Floyd said it best, where the goal is to hit and not get hit. And a lot of people don't take that approach. So I would never, specifically as somebody who isn't a pro boxer, I would never say nobody's soft or they're not really working, because it is the business of hurt and pain and longevity. It's similar to the NFL. Like, it's not for long. So
right.
even for you to have been in this amount of time, like over a decade,
Yeah,
I say you take the path of resistance, because you look at your record and there are some people on there that even for the casual fans, it pops and goes, oh, I know this person. And here you were in there. I think a lot of times, and even looking at your record, you get tabbed as the opponent. How does it feel from even like that first, what was that first loss? What did that first loss feel like? And specifically, knowing that it came at a time where you were running through cats.
yeah. It wasn't even really like a bad feeling. Of course, as a competitor, I wanted to win and everything. But it was I wasn't I wasn't in the locker room crying and stuff. We just kind of took it in stride and like because I figured at that point in my career, I'd already had a lot of people turn me down. Um, so in my mind, I was like, well, man, I didn't take a loss. Maybe it'll be easy to find fights now. I remember walking back to the hotel room or whatever. My dad was like, man, you all right? I was like, yeah. Like, sore or whatever. He's like, nah, I mean, but like, are you all right? I said, yeah. Like at the time I was at the time of that fight, I was 19-0. I took my first loss. I told her, I was like, man, Dad, the way I see it, 19 dudes had to make this same walk. I can't cry when I gotta do it once. And then
Man,
he said, I knew you'd be all right. He said, that's why I knew he'd be all right. And then I was okay. Yeah, like my thing was, I just want to get back in the ring. I want to get back in the ring, get back in the winning column. And like right after that loss, I fight an Olympic gold medalist, and I beat him, and we right back to work.
right? Yeah, because I remember, if I'm right, the first law was that Ergashev,
Yeah, that was Ergashev.
which
It was a what was it? They gave him a unanimous decision. I think he got a little more credit for throwing harder punches, but I don't think he was I don't think he was
the
that
activity,
accurate. And then
yeah,
and that was one of those. But a lot of people, I thought, man, I could have won that fight. I mean, it was his promoter, it was this and that, but I mean, that's all. It go how it goes sometimes. But I mean, I
yeah.
like the fight I fought. I know it's obviously it's stuff I could have did better, but at the time, I mean, I thought I did enough to win it. But goes how it goes.
I mean, and then you turned around, and I don't want to say the next opponent was Ergashev, but the name is like Ergashev-ish. It was
Yeah, it was Fazlidin Gab Nazarov.
man, listen, my brother, man, to run that back one more time. There's a lot of
Yep.
syllables, a lot
Yeah,
of consonants.
Fazlidin Gab Nazarov. Everybody just called him Fozzy.
Because I remember he was you talk about, like he was what, 2016 or 2012 Olympian.
Yeah, he was a 2016 Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah,
He beat Antoine Russell and
yep,
knocked Antoine Russell out of the Olympics. He beat him by decision. In a fight, I didn't, but I guess I don't understand the Olympic scoring because I thought Antoine, when I watched it, I'm like, I don't really understand how you would win, but like I said, I didn't understand the Olympic scoring. Um, I fought him right behind Ergashev. They from the same country,
right,
Uzbekistan, and then on a top ranked card, you know, and I beat him in an upset. It was an upset because I beat him on his promoter's card. So
right.
it was a statement piece.
Yeah, because I mean, specifically it being, the top ranked card and the gold medals. Like you said, I think the Olympic style of boxing, even, it's more of like the point fighting system. Like we have a partner who does point fight, or used to do point fight karate, and
Yeah,
it wasn't the emphasis as much on the power or even the
right.
placement. Like it's almost like they reward the activity, and I'm like, this doesn't necessarily translate to the real game. So even looking back at that fight, like if you were able to pull it up on YouTube, even going in, if you were somebody who didn't know who you were, like, you'd be like, oh, here's this like taller, rangier, guy at this weight class against this Olympic medalist. Like, you were somebody who watched boxing, you went, oh, this is, to me, it wasn't an upset, because I said, this is a guy who his style is, a lot of the people who come from that region, their style is designed for the Olympics. Is you're not meant to go in there and it's not like you going in there with like a like the Mikey Garcias and them, like cats who just gonna bite down.
Yeah,
You're not going in there against a pit bull Cruz who
right.
just gonna bite down on the gum shield and come forward. But yeah, if I'm right, yeah, man, you did that fight about, that was like 2 months after Ergashev, so you really got back to it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It was just the next opportunity that came. It was the next opportunity that came. Each time an opportunity came, I mean, we looked at it. We saw how it did. We didn't see anything that was going to be that gave us a reason to really say no. Um, so we went on. We went on.
All right, man. So you pushed through, because I know later it was Kavalowskis. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about the fight. How, like I said, I knew who you were,
Yeah,
but you really came to my attention off of the August 21st robbery
yeah,
debacle, scammery,
right.
fraudulency, whole lot of, yeah, that had a lot of us in the boxing community in the uproar of the fight against Maestre. A number of people were there in person, and like I said, you've taken the path of resistance. How, again, not saying others take soft touches, because it's still the sport of boxing, but as much as we call it a sport, there's also the business
Yep.
end of boxing. Like you said, you went in there and beat multi-syllabic, whole lot of consonants. The other brother from Uzbek, and you go in there on the top rank card. He's, of course, I'm pretty sure, hey, this guy's a 12 or 15 to 1 odds favorite. You go in there as an opponent. You went in there against Gabriel Maestre, who was similar, not as touted, but somebody who they really were placing as, hey, this is going to be our next guy who we could kind of push and market.
Right.
And we all watched that fight, and we all knew who won, but we all saw that outcome. And even that, tell me about finding out about that fight, being in that fight, and your reaction, because we saw it.
Yeah.
But I think there's a difference when you're in the moment of it, of like, this is really happening. Like, tell me about what led up to that fight, your excitement leading up to it, because that would have and should have been a marquee win on your record,
Right.
and the immediate reaction you had to it.
Yeah. So when I first got mention of the fight, what it actually happened was, I was, so in 2020, they were doing the PBC bubble shows, and
Yep.
Top Rank had their bubble and everything like that. So, I done a couple of I came on backup, like as a backup opponent a couple of times. And if you didn't fight, they would just come have you weigh in. If everybody's COVID test came back cleared, you weigh in, and then they just pay you for coming out there, making the weight and things like that. So I did that a couple times, and then I went to camp with Tank Davis. I come back. Oh, yeah. So I come back, and then my advisor hit me up like, yeah. So originally that whole card was about put together, but they're like, man, at the time they were looking for an opponent for Stanionis. Would you do it for Stanionis? I'm like, would you fight Stanionis? I'm like, how much? And I'm like, all right. I gave my name. We put our name in the hat. Stanionis' team actually said no.
Oh.
Yeah, Stanionis' team actually said no. So then my advisor, you want to just be on backup again, man, just in case. He's like, I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess. You know what I mean? He's like, the only thing was like, man, like, just, you never know, like some people, if somebody. He said, if somebody ends up dirty, I mean, you get an opportunity. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I mean, not dirty,
Yeah.
but
But
they
yeah,
test
COVID
positive for
test. Yeah,
COVID. That's
yeah,
what they said.
yeah. Not hot COVID. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I'm sorry. Yeah,
clarification. For
just man, somebody,
clarification.
somebody,
We saying vid.
yeah, for
Right.
clarification, if somebody tests positive for COVID, you step in. I said, all right, man, and they had me on backup for the entire card. Like it was, so if it's 3 fights, that's 6 different people I had to prepare for. So in that
Right.
time, I just trained and I sparred everybody, southpaws, conventionals, whatever. And just as I was ready to like wind down on sparring, like, man, all right, bro, I ain't heard it, because we hadn't heard nothing. They ain't heard nothing. Look like everybody going through. I said, man, we can just be done with sparring. I just cut the weight. My dad said, well, actually, because I had just put to the gym. I just got off the phone with your advisor. He's like, one of the guys is out, and they were trying to work you into that spot.
Mm.
I was like, all right, okay, let's finish up sparring. Let's finish up.
Yeah, you could stay ready. But you were staying ready, so it was perfect.
Yeah, I was staying ready. So, and then I officially got the call. They said, it's gonna be you versus Maestre for an interim WBA title, and we're it was, my heart started racing. I was excited. At that point, I was 7 years into my pro career, and I'm just like, finally, this is the moment. This is the moment right here. This is the moment. Everything. I win this. Everything changes, and then So that was about 10 days. That was about 10 days removed from the fight day. That's when I found out. Did one more sparring session, cut the weight, made the weight. We go into the fight. Well, no, I say this. So we got the build up too. So like, not the build up, but I'm doing the media work and stuff like that. I did the interviews, and I was supremely confident, just because there was no pressure on me to win. I wasn't expecting to do anything. I was just ready to, he came in on short notice. He's just saving our car, whatever. I'm like, lo and behold, I've been working hard. Like, I've been getting ready. And then,
right.
I'm talking to Joe Goosen, and he's like, man, can a fighter with 3 fights be with you? I'm like, nah. I said, this isn't he Olympian or not. I beat the Olympic gold
I,
medalist that
yeah,
went one of that went.
I just took out a gold medalist
Yeah,
like 2-3 months after a loss. Like
right. And
this
he
is
went.
not new
Yeah,
territory.
and he went one of the years that Maestro went. Like I beat the best guy, so Olympian that term doesn't scare me. You know what I mean? That the fear, the mystique of that is gone. So
Right.
yeah, and we go into the fight. You know how the fight went, and I mean, we thought we go into the dome after the 12th round. My dad's just like, "Yo, you did it, man. You're a world champion tonight. You did it." And we all thought so until we heard what we heard.
Which 117, 110.
That was
That was
horrible.
yeah. I mean, it was we all jokingly said online. I think we had Lou in a space once, and DeBella,
Yeah,
and I'd asked him. I said, "Is that the where?" He said, "That is the clearest. That is the clearest one." He said he was like, "He should have had we should have had a federal investigation." He was like, "Because there's," he said, that is the business of boxing," and that's where I think at times when we all watched that night, there were a lot of us who, you gained a lot of support and followers from us, not just because of your
definitely.
ability to be tangible. And when people, you call yourself the professor, I told somebody, I said, yeah, man, I'm interviewing, Myke. And they said, Myke, yeah, the professor. I said, you really professional. I said, the brother, he trains, he spars, he's a sparring partner, he's a trainer, he's a coach. The brother's a TV analyst. I said, he's a consummate professional. I said, he could pivot from being the professor to the professional seamlessly. Like, and that being the new name, come to the ring, like one of them Eubanks, with a tuxedo on. It'll
Yeah,
click.
yeah,
But that was the night where I said, man, this is like the nature and the business of boxing.
right.
And after that, even to see you rebound and get some wins, the Kavalowskis fight was another fight. We were like, man, that was close. I said they keep putting my brother in here as the opponent for like random obligatory Eastern Bloc Europeans, and
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm like, man, this is tough. But in that, even after the Maestre fight, knowing the outcome, what motivated you to even get back into the ring? Because we've seen people who like they just disappear from the scene after something like that. It mentally at times like puts them in a space where they're like, man, how do I bounce back? What did you do internally to even decide, man, I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm just gonna get back to
Honestly, I don't think there was ever a time, honestly, when I thought, man, I'm done with this. I gave it all I had. This is what they did to me. I had it in my mind. I wouldn't want to go out like this. Like, despite what happened, it was egregious. It was terrible, but I don't want to go out like that. And then what ends up happening is, so right after the fight, I go up to the locker room, I shower, get my money, I come back down. Um, a lady pulls me to the side. She's part of the production. She's like, by this time, the fight's over. The Stayonis and the Stayonis fight and with Louis Collazo, that fight had ended and
it.
everything.
Right.
Lady said, "I've been looking for you for like half an hour." I'm like, "Oh, for what? I got my money. I'm paid. I'm blah blah blah." She's like, she said, "Lennox Lewis sent me to come find you. Like, he wants to talk to you." So we go down to where I guess their green room, whatever. We go downstairs, go down those flight stairs. We make a left, right, left, left, right, left. One more left. Lennox Lewis is in mid conversation. As soon as he sees me, first thing he says, "Bro, you won that fight, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise." And then Joe Goosen was there too. He's like, he said, "Yeah, we couldn't believe what we heard when you. I don't know. I don't know if you recorded the broadcast. When you see it, when you hear it, you'll see." And then we just started like exchanging stories and everything. He's just like, he said, "Man, that was like terrible. It reminded me of like when I fought Holyfield and they did that to me." And then and Goosen tells this story where he took a fight to like Venezuela, where like I think WBA is
Yeah, that's their.
headquarters or
If
whatever.
I'm right, yeah, that's their headquarters is out of Venezuela, which of
Yeah,
course
yeah,
was
yeah.
one of the things where we said with Maestro, like,
Yeah, he's Venezuela. Yeah,
yeah,
they doing all that, right? So, but he says he took a guy there. His guy knocked the guy down 3 times. I want to say he knocked him down 3 times, or 2 or 3 times, and the guy lost a point for low blows. And Joe Goosen's man still lost, and I'm just like, oh, so he's like basically, in other words, Goosen was just like, man, they been on games, and we exchanged stories, took pictures and everything, and then I just knew like, man, like whatever. And my dad said, man, you're gonna get more out of this than you would have from winning. And like
Mm.
my followers went up, my fan base went up. I got to meet and talk and chat with Joe Goose and Lennox Lewis, and um, you know, I gained notoriety from the whole ordeal. Not the way I necessarily wanted to, but I was either way. I like, man, I need to figure out how to take this and turn it into a positive. And the positive that came out was just, just like honestly the fan base, the interviews, everything, just people knowing who I am. Like even now, like I was out in Turks and Caicos and like somebody recognized me. They're like, "Hey man, aren't you Mykal Fox?" Like a lot of notoriety. So I'm like,
Yeah, man.
I'm out the whole country right now. And then so there's that. Now I'm in bigger fights with like. I mean, I've been to training camps. I'm in a big fight now, so we just did the best we could with it.
Man, that's you talk about, pivot to greatness, man. That was the move. I mean, so you go from that. Tell me for a second before I get into the upcoming fight, man. Tell me about, because in between that time you come off of that, you go in there, you had that battle out with Kavalauskas, which was a hell of a fight,
Thank
and
you.
then you're also doing Combat League, which Combat League was very, it wasn't not necessarily a new concept, for people who watch like MMA or World Series fighting, like you've seen the team concept. What made you go, okay, let me jump over here real quick? Was it an activity thing, or was it just the interest of like, yo, these round robin tournaments seem like low key, like kind of exciting?
Well, no, I got into it just because they were like, you can get back. Like I hadn't been fighting, nothing was coming up. I basically had nothing else kind of to do. And then the season. So the season started the time the season started. I was in camp with Brian Mendoza, and I
Mm-hmm.
had been hearing whispers of it. So each night it came on, like I think it was every Wednesday at one point or every Thursday.
Yeah.
I watched it, got a flip feel for the concept. I'm looking like, okay, I mean, this can be a thing. And then like it's keeping people active. It's a couple names I see that, oh man, good, he in this. I mean, he used to fight. He ain't been fighting in a while. Like because it was probably hard for people to, it's hard for people to get fights sometimes. That's
Right.
just kind of how it goes. So now you got a team full of 18 people who are staying active, making some money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or getting themselves back in order and everything. So I got home after the Brian Mendoza camp after he knocked out Fedor. About a month later, was it? I got it April. Yeah, about maybe at the end of May. Barry Hunter was the coach of the DC TCL team, DC Destroyers, and a couple of his men got injured. They weren't cleared to fight. He said, "Man, I need somebody." He called my father. He said, "Yeah, they'll pay you per event, per fight, things like that." And then we just made it happen like that. I was like, all right, man, I'm in. I mean, I like because like I said, I wasn't doing nothing. There's
Yes.
nothing on the horizon.
Yeah.
Nothing on the horizon. A couple people tried to get fights. They wouldn't go through.
And folks,
Yeah, so I like,
I
man.
like I like your professionalism saying the fights wouldn't go through. I like the way, because the internet would be like they was missing, they was ducking,
Yeah,
which is like So I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, but because the truth about that is that all the like, if it was left to fighters will fight. To be honest, it's other
right,
people. Sometimes it's promoters, sometimes it's managers. He don't like him, or I don't like the way such and such does business. I well, such and such is they're handling such this guy's career. Everybody's
right,
talking about us fighting. I just and then it's not always the fighters. Fighters will fight.
right. Which I don't. I think a lot of the fans miss that, like, because they're so used to other sports where.
Yeah,
I watch a lot of MMA, no cats who do, and they're like, well, why doesn't it just work this way? And like UFC, I'm like, the fact that you call it UFC as opposed to MMA, like you've
that lets
encompassed
you
this
know
entire
yeah,
sport under
right,
this organization. It's like, no, man, it's different. Like this isn't like the NFL where like you have a schedule. No, man,
right.
it's different. It's different. Like fighters would fight. I'm like, if you told them, look, man, I give you 100 racks, y'all could just go scrap it out behind the Taco Bell, they would do it. I'm like, but
Pretty much, yeah. Anybody
it's
that ain't
not,
fought for 100,000 before, for sure.
man.
That's the thing. Like the people with when it comes to like UFC, like I'm friends with a few UFC fighters. Um, Shout out to my friend Sadiq Yusuf. He's actually fighting May 17th.
Sadiq.
Yeah. But he's a but he like he know like the way the UFC works is, I mean, the UFC is a promotion. If you really look at it, UFC is they're not working with Bellator is out of the game now.
Yeah.
But they don't work with ONE FC. If
they're
Dana White,
Bellator PFL now, no different.
oh, okay.
They're no different
So
from how how UFC absorbed LFA and all these other. It was like, listen, man, it's too hard. It's really a monopoly. No one wants to say that, but in all actually, from like a business perspective, it's a monopoly. They're the only major player in the game.
Yeah, my thing is this: if Dana White, like you got a lot of personalities, Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya, all these guys got to be willing to collaborate. If Dana White had to collaborate with PFL or ONE FC, you would find out that a lot of fights wouldn't get made. Everybody he just made a brand that everybody wants to get to the UFC, but he's coming into boxing with this promotion that he put together. He's going to find out that it's not the fighters that don't want to fight. It's the different personalities that have the purse strings. You got to be willing to work with these people. You'll have to make concessions on both. Concessions will have to be made on both sides. You'll find out, or you can just have your own little fight league.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be a champion in somebody's eyes, but if they're not, what happens when they're not recognized by?
Exactly.
The Dana White boxing champion isn't, he's not the WBC champion, WBO champion, none of that.
Yeah, and I think people don't recognize it's not just the prestige of those titles and the sanctioning body fees. No, man, it's the history, the legacy, and everything else that comes along with it. Like, it's really awesome for you to be, hey man, I'm the TKO super middleweight champion of the world. That sounds cool, but who'd you fight to get it? Who did you beat for that? Like, you beat somebody who was, a former person. And that transition to him and what they're doing over there is very interesting to me. I know there's a UFC fighter, no longer a UFC fighter. We knew him from when he was in Bellator and local shows. He recently retired at a relatively young age from MMA. And in speaking with his people, he was approached on, hey, would you be interested in maybe doing boxing? And I immediately said, that's interesting that he retired from UFC and now they're like, hey, maybe do you want to make this transition to boxing? It's like, do you not want to get the boxers involved? Is this going to be a thing where it's almost like bare knuckle? Like, hey, listen, man, we got Hector Lombard over here who, he like, hey, man, let's go ahead and throw him in this boxing ring. It's like, no, man, it's not just the prestige or the sanctioning bodies. There's more to it. But, the idea of them going over to take their ball and play over in their own little sandbox is whatever, man. So you keep talking about your dad. How difficult is it boxing for a man who's known you your whole life? Like, how is it different taking instruction from him, or is it easy just because at some point in your life he's probably worded you like most black fathers, I brought you in, I could take you out?
Nah, that's not one of those situations. The thing is, my dad has always been like, if you feel like you could go another way, like, because we always worked in his business. I paid him for every fight that he's ever coached me in. So that's 28 times he's been my coach. He's been paid 28 times. We work as a business. We like, if you feel that you can go further somewhere else and you want to try something else, fair game. Business is business. You know what I mean? But they'll never. But like our relationship, we have a great relationship outside of boxing. Our relationship isn't just on boxing. My dad isn't. The thing is, you have father coaches. You have the dads that want to coach their sons, and you have the dads that want to be coaches. Dads that want to be coaches. Bozy Ennis. I feel like my father, Lamar Roach Sr., guys like that who train other people's kids too. And then you have the fathers that just want to coach their kids. You got like Brian Norman Sr. He probably can't. I can't see him training anybody else. Respectfully, I don't see him training anybody else.
Right.
Floyd Schofield Sr. I damn sure don't see him training anybody else.
No.
You know what I mean? No. You gonna like some of these dudes. You're not gonna see them like when their sons retire or they're done. They decide to go another route. you're never going to hear from them again.
Yeah.
Kenny Porter, what he did with his son is 2-time welterweight champion, but you don't
You
you don't see
haven't
him
heard
around no
any.
more.
You haven't heard from Kenny. You
Yeah,
haven't.
I've seen him around, but he's not in nobody's corner right
No.
now. You got those. Yeah, so you got a guy. So my dad, we got into boxing together, but when I'm done, he's not going to be done. Or if I decide to go another route, he's going to just continue training. He's going to continue training people. He wants to be a coach, but and apart from that, yeah, like we have a great relationship outside of boxing. Like we'll hang out. We used to play video games sometimes, go to movies or watch movies. We're talking about whatever little TV series we watching. Yo, you need to check out Yellowstone or Mobland, whatever's on at the time, and then we just have a great relationship.
I know. I like how your dad is an OG because he watching all the Paramount shows. He watching Mobland.
Yeah,
He watching
he got me on
Mobland and
all the Jones.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. He got 1923. What's the jump with Zoe
Hey, hey,
Saldana? Lioness. He got
hey,
me on all.
that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, she hitting doors. It's a little. Yeah, it's like the dude who makes all of those shows. I said he's Taylor Sheridan. I said, oh, he's printing money with CBS.
Yeah,
He
he got a great story too.
Oh yeah, man. I've seen. I said, okay. I said, I see where all this comes from. Yeah, man. Real dope, man.
Hey, bro, I tore through both seasons of Lioness in like a week.
It's a hell of a show, man.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a show. I also like the way that my man who created it, somehow every show he has, he like, let me just slide this cameo real fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I'm gonna come in there, like I'm gonna just come in with this M4. I'm not gonna be in the whole lot, I'm gonna drop a couple.
Right, we're gonna do this mission. I'm gonna pop in for this mission, and then we go back behind the director's table.
That's it. He like, I just gotta pop out, let him know, how like how Stan Lee used to do in the Marvel joints, like, hey, you'll see me in the background. I'm gonna dip out. All right, so now, man, it's all come. I don't want to say full circle, but to me, like I said before we started recording, know some people around. I'm a West Coast LA dude, so we know some people who are around. Brandon, we everybody who I know who's around him said, man, Brandon does amazing work in the community. He's active. It's not just social media thing. Like that's really who dude is. Yeah. So when he fought, and that was that Ring USA? That was Ring USA.
That was Ring City. Yeah. I kind of wish that would have stayed around, but
really do, because having that alternative to where, like we talk about this a lot. Like when you don't have the streaming option, when you don't really have that platform, you kind of neck it from a business standpoint for your fighters. And then you are in that position of where, how do I leverage this partnership? Like everybody's not going to be able to get $700,000 to put on, a random show for the Zone or ESPN check. Like Fox Sports has kind of, with YouTube going over, a lot of you, even PBC is more towards that than you being on a Fox Sports or Fox Sports 1. So yeah, man, I liked the Ring City. The Ring City was dope because it was just like, man, on a Friday night you could catch this DeBella fighter against this Samson fighter against this dude who's over here with Salida Promotions, and they all come together on NBC. And I liked it because it had competitive fights. And yeah, if you listening, please bring that back, because it also eliminated a lot of the tomfoolery of the across the street nonsense. It was like,
it's
look,
kind of like neutral ground, but it's okay though. You know why? Because Ring City walked so Pro Box could run.
Man. Hey, low key. Hey man, low key, you onto something with that, because Pro Box is a little
they
bit,
doing it. Yeah, man, they got PBC guys, they got top rank guys, they got look, we got a slot, you can get the spot, you know what I'm saying?
Man, that's
like Kelvin Davis, he fights on there. Hammer's a Hammer, he's about to fight Ardrell Holmes. Ardrell Holmes is Salida. Well, I know he's split team, and I think Salida Promotions.
Yep.
And then Hammer's still with PBC, or still has sides with PBC. So and then yeah, man. I think anytime there's an avenue for fighters to fight is always good, because like I said, everybody's not going to get a big platform, and then like some of these, but like you can stream, but streaming is like the next thing. but everybody
Right.
gets exclusive stream deals. If you're not tied to Eddie, to Oscar, or to Bob, you ain't
It's a
you're not
tough
going you're not going to get to reap the benefits.
right. And then you kind of out because everything I've seen with fighters and conversation fighters, you need that activity. Like one big fight is
Absolutely.
awesome, but if you don't have that activity,
Yeah.
we've seen it, man. Ring rust is a real thing.
Right. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got to stay. You got you like sharp. A knife. You got to keep a knife sharp. You keep it sharp. You keep cutting with it. You know what I mean? If you don't cut, it dulls. That's like same thing with fighters. Like not being in the ring competing. You know, when it's been a long time since you've been hit with without a headgear and small gloves, it can have
Yep.
an effect. You got to kind of reintroduce it to reintroduce your body to that kind of, I mean, to that kind of trauma, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, football and wrestling coaches used to always yell at us and say, "Look, man, we could have y'all practice. Y'all could run around in shorts and all day. The only way you're gonna get better at wrestling is wrestling some other dude. The only way you're gonna get better at football is playing football. Like I can
Right.
put you in the weight room. You could do gassers. You could do bear crawl. You're not going to get better doing that. You're going to get better smacking up against another 280-pound Samoan. Like this is how you're going to get better. You're not
Yeah,
going to get better practicing against your partners. You'll develop your skills and you'll hone them. It'll improve some of the foundation, but you're only going to get better in real, open, live competition.
agreed.
Yeah, man. So I mean, outside of that, like I said, man, we pivoted back to neighborhood dude Brandon. I'm super proud of all the LA fighters. War
Yeah,
Diego Pacheco. Hopefully, he up next.
yeah,
He up next. You are now going against a cat who, like I said, in that Ring City fight, everybody who was from the neighborhood said, "Oh, Brandon's gonna beat this dude," and he was brought in there as an opponent.
right.
And I put on, I'm still calling it Twitter. I don't care what the pseudo vice president call it. It's Twitter. Um, I put on Twitter. I said, "Oh, they done messed up. They put Myke as an opponent. The last time Chuck fought an opponent was
Yeah,
Brandon during Charlie 19." And
right.
when he went there, he was supposed to be, hey, this is an opponent. Recently, Brandon was over in the OTX and he
Yeah,
had somebody in the first round, an opponent. And I'm like, y'all, there continues to be the business of boxing, trying to do the business of boxing. And
yeah,
they go, let's go get this person as opponent.
right.
And I put that on Twitter because I said, I think Myke gonna pack this dude up. I think they bit off more than they could chew. So tell me, man, about how this fight came about. Did they approach? Well, clearly they approached you because they think it's sweet. Um, they think it's sweet over here.
Yeah.
What was your thought when they called your pops or when they called your advisor and they said, "Hey, this was on the table"?
So what had actually happened was I actually did, the day I got the fight, I had actually or the day I was called about the fight, I had actually sparred that morning. They hit me, so I got hit. I got called by I got a text from my promoter, Tony Jetta, at around 5 p.m. that evening. Like, would you be interested in fighting him or this guy? He sends a box rec. It's Sergey Boachuk. My my blood immediately got to rushing. I like this shit. I like this shit a lot, and I like challenges, and I like to take on who's who when I get the opportunity. So, my next step, how much we got the number. I told my dad no. He's like, yeah, what you think? I said, yeah, maybe at 54, first round 54, blah blah. Let's see what's up. He said, all right, bet. And then I told him, man, yeah, man, tell him we'll do it. We worked out the particulars. I said, all right, give me this. Tell them we'll do it. And then they sent it. They sent it. So look, but check out. So they sent it, right. I signed the contract at 154. I sent it back immediately. They put the contract. I mean, they put the fight. Actually, put the fight on box rec. Then they took it off. And then a few weeks later, I get a text from my no, I get a call from my promoter. Tony's like, yeah, man. So they were saying, man, Boas ain't been in the gym the way he's supposed to be. They want to move the weight up. They want to move the weight up 3 pounds.
One
That's 154. We're actually fighting at 157.
157 catch weight.
Catch weight at 157. Yeah. He said, yeah, because he said he hadn't been in the gym. So I said, all right, well, give me more money. Except I like
Well, yeah, because I mean that 3 pounds. Hey, listen, man, you haven't been in the gym. You
right,
have
yeah,
been to the
I could
bank.
have been, yeah. Like the thing is, I wanted to, I want to fight, and I wanted to fight. So I was like, man, look, give me this number. They give me this number, I'll still fight them. If they don't give me this number, we'll look somewhere else and tell them to, either tell him he got to make 54, or find somebody that'll fight him at 57. But they agreed to the number. They sent a new contract. I signed the contract. I have a copy of both of them, so I'm not counting. I don't. But yeah, They say he just hadn't been in the gym. I don't know what he's been doing, but I've been sparring. I have been sparring.
Right.
Like guys like I sparred Lamont Rose before his fight with Tank. That was just one session before he went off to camp. I sparred Benjamin Johnson. He was getting ready for a fight April 12th. I sparred Dave Whitmire. He was getting ready for a fight March 1st. I put a lot of rounds in with guys Mykal Phillips. So I had been sparring, so I like where I am. I like the way I'm feeling, how I'm fighting, and or how I'm looking to sparring. So I'm like, yeah, man, let's do that. Let's not waste this feeling. So we did it. We're going and we're doing it. So we fly out the 15th.
Man, so you was doing what you always do, which is being like a stay ready all-star. You were already in the gym, ready to go, was like up this number this much and ready. So what turnaround time from offer to sign, even though with the retraction initially, we looking at what, less than 48 hours?
No, okay. So the initial sign, I signed the initial agreement. Like I said, I think I signed it the next day. Sent it back to my promoter. He sends it over to 360 Promotions. And then I feel like we getting in the groove. We picking up the pace on sparring, and Cam's really about to start picking up. I get a call. I think this might have been 2 weeks later, 2 weeks
Mm,
after, and then because for a while we were kind of wondering like, well, it was on Box right now. It's not. A couple people put it out on Twitter and things like
yep.
that. But I'm like, well, I mean, it ain't on. I mean, because they put it up on BoxRec so quick initially, when it wasn't there, I'm like, I hit my promoter. I'm like, are they thinking of changing the date or blah blah blah? Blah. He's like, nah, it's still a
Yeah.
go, it's still a go. And then a few days after that, he hits me with the weight change, and I'm like,
Mm,
all right,
okay. So I mean, I only ask that question to show people the fights can be, again, like if you're a fighter and you want to fight, the fights can't get made.
yeah,
This was the eve site for you to make. You're now prepared, ready, and y'all leave out for California. Said the 15th.
yeah. We fight on the 17th. We leaving out on we fly out the 15th.
All right, man. And y'all are in I'm LA dude, man. So y'all are in a common fight location out there in Commerce, man. Like
Yeah.
you are I could tell you in advance now, that's gonna be it's gonna be a very electric crowd.
Okay.
If for people for anybody from LA, if you've been to the Battle Dome, we still call it the Home Depot Center. It's always gonna be the Home Depot Center. I don't care what they call it. It's the Home Depot Center. Uh, it's like the Home Depot Center's little brother. Like it is real. It's real fight fans. It's a good fighting atmosphere, man. So
Nice.
y'all go out there the 15th for the fight, the 17th. How long have you been training for this for? Well, I mean, I know, shoot, you never stopped training.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Boachuk? Like, what have you seen in him where you're like, that this is a winnable fight? Like, we know it. We believe it's a winnable fight. Like I said, I personally feel like they're taking it as, well, this is an opponent because they saw you and said, well, this will give us a little bit, but we could probably get them. And I'm like, yeah, y'all done that before and it didn't go well. What is it that you see specifically in him where you like, okay, not giving too much away, being like, yeah, I could win this fight.
Um, Without giving too much away, let me tell you. I mean, I feel like it's a style I'm kind of used to seeing. You know, fighters that apply pressure and things like that. The biggest advantage I feel like I have this time. I mean, like I said, I'm a great fighter myself, but like I know he's not going to be used to being the shorter man. He's
Yeah,
probably almost has never been the shorter man in the ring. I think that's going to play a big part to it. But that's only amplified by my already great boxing skills. So it's not just I didn't get this far in the sport just because I'm tall. You know what I mean? I can
right.
fight, and if anybody that's seen me fight, they know I get down. I get down when I need to. So I mean,
Facts.
you know, um, yeah, I think the biggest part of it too is I think he could be overlooking me. I'm
I,
I'm training for the best version of Boachuk. The one that went tooth and nail with Virgil Ortiz, the
with
one
Virgil,
that
yeah.
stopped Ismail Davis. So like if that night comes to 17, if he falls anything under what I deem the best version of Boachuk, then my night becomes easier. It's not gonna be easy; it becomes easier.
Yeah, man. I think, man, we all behind you. We have high hopes. Like you said, the one that went there, against Virgil. I'm still a believer in just watching his style of fight. It is when I watched the Virgil fight. Watching it in real time, I said, "Oh, I expect this is what Belichick does like every fight." Like I was like, I think he's just used to, like you said, being the bigger dude, low key bullying his opponents, uh, and I mean, he had that streak of knockouts, and I was like, okay, this is he's kind of used to being the bigger guy. He's used to muscling people around. He's
Yeah,
used to, I could, not overwhelming power, but people kind of succumb to the damage. I'm like, I
yeah,
don't think that's gonna happen. I said, I don't think he's gonna get close enough to Myke. I don't think he's gonna be able to get inside. And again, the last time, him and Virgil, he stood there and traded with Virgil. It didn't go the best for him.
yeah.
He didn't necessarily try and trade with Brandon, but it was Brandon is just so compact that it was hard for him. I didn't think he expected that. Now he gets the polar opposite with you, somebody who's an effective boxer, solid defense, good jab. Somebody who surprisingly at that height is like, hey man, I'm a good body puncher at this height. Like, don't be surprised. So
Right.
now I don't really, yeah, man. I'm looking for big things, man. I'm trying to get back to the West Coast, man, so I can be in the building for it, so I could hang out, with the gente and all of the people who be wilding out there at Commerce.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, man, I'm excited for this, man. I'm excited, man. So I'll wrap it up with this, man. What coming in this fight, what is your focus like that last 40? Because you get there to 15th. Like, what is your focus? What is your mindset that 48 hours before going into this fight?
Just keeping calm, just keeping calm, and just letting the time tick down. All the work, by that time the work's been done. If you don't got it, then you're not gonna have it. So it's not. I'm trying. My main goal is just to keep the stress down, and just and and and, and just kind of play the fight out of my mind, like the ways of me winning and things like that. So I'm just focused on the task. Just focus on the task. Like there's a couple people ask like, what you think will happen after 17? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't thought past the 17. So
That's it.
man,
Lock
we got
in.
work to do. We locked in. We got work. What I'm saying? And I see y'all at work.
Clocking in, man. Well, shoot, man. Fox, greatly appreciated, man. I'm looking forward to it, man, on the 17th, man. When I say looking forward to it, I'm expecting your hand to get raised, man. And whether if I'm watching on TV or live, man, I'm cheering for you, bro. Where can people see the fight? Because I know they could cop tickets. Now tickets are available. Initially, when it came, I was like, why are tickets not available? Where can they cop tickets? Where will we be able to watch this fight
Yeah. So
on the
you can.
17th?
Yeah. If you go to 360 Promotions Instagram page, you click a link in their bio. They'll take you to the ticket information. If you plan to attend live, if you aren't, it'll be streamed on UFC Fight Pass. Um, yeah, UFC Fight Pass May 17th.
Man, well, shoot, brother Fox, greatly appreciated, man. Looking forward to a champ. Yeah, man. Please go out there. You not an opponent.
Not
This
not at
this
all.
is this
That's a title for them, man.
to man.
Yeah,
Say
I
it
tell
again.
I tell people all the time that man, this dude trying to turn me to a point. We're not doing the A7. We're not gonna be on the B side. I'm like, yo, you don't have to lose that fight. Go win. you can win from the B side, but you know what I'm saying. But if you gonna deprive yourself of opportunities because of the dreaded B side, it's A side, B side, port side, C side, whatever, nigga, what the fuck ever. If you can fight, it doesn't really matter.
That's how I know you really. That's how I know you really from Maryland. You like land side, port side, seaside.
Right.
Man, with the he's like, bro, listen.
Yeah.
All right, man. We'll shoot, man. Go on it, man. Ain't no y'all heard. Ain't no B sides around here, man. Ain't no B sides. Just champ talk. So look, man. Good luck, Fox, man. Much love, man. The blessings, the pops, man, and your brother and everybody else, man. And
Appreciate that.
go on, man. Go on and put on, man. We excited, man. Come on
Yes,
out with
sir,
that victory.
man. For sure. Thank you.
All right, Fox. Appreciate it, man. You stay safe, bro.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, man.